There we are. What's up, everybody? It's Jeremy with Fireplace Friday. It's about 1 p.m. Central Time. Usually I do this at 10, but I had another interview to do today with I think it's like the Chimney Success Network or something, CVC Coaching, which my wife works with that group and does her coaching through a lot of that. And so, and what's that noise? Let me show you what that noise is. It's this one right here. That's Brandy's dog whining because we have an interviewee and she's got to do an interview and she doesn't get to be in there with the interviewer. So she's a little upset. She has to be in my office with me. But anyway, she'll get over it. So if you hear a little whine in the background, it's her being whiny. And she does that because she's a needy dog. Anyways, so what we're going to talk about today? Well, I was thinking the other day, we were talking about some of the new stuff we're rolling out this year. And I was thinking, what are the leading causes of house fires these days? Like chimney safety is important and everything, but where does the fireplace and chimney and everything rank on there? Because we're in the industry to educate and help people with their chimney problems, but like, where are some other issues that we can share with our customers and let them know more about fire safety? So I looked up, and it's amazing how much information, and I didn't just do a random search on the internet like so many people do. What I do is when I search for something, I look at legitimate fact-based websites, not just lawyer websites or in general websites, someone trying to sell you something websites or anything. I want actual data and maybe articles that are written by experts, things like that. And I did see multiple ones of that. And the funny thing is accuracy must be there because I kept seeing the same stuff over and over, the same rankings and everything. So let's go over that. Let's see what's up. So, leading causes of house fires. Number 1, appliances and equipment. With that being said, it says any device that generates heat, stoves, clothes dryers, heaters, or heats up with extended use, computers, fans, is a potential fire hazard. Cooking vessels. So that's one thing that I saw on there. Number 1 that was very consistent across a lot of platforms was cooking. And so when they say appliances, they're talking, when they say stoves, they're not talking about fireplaces. They're talking about cook stoves. So it all starts in the kitchen, which is amazing and believable because my parents had a fire in the kitchen in a previous house they lived in. And how did that happen? Well, there was grease heating up on the stove. Mom had a little fire and she threw water on it. We don't want to throw water on grease fires, just like we don't want to throw gasoline on or accelerants on bonfires and stuff like that. Bad stuff happens. Don't do it. But when you're in the heat of the moment, you think, what puts out fire? Water. Well, not always the best thing. That's why we want to have fire extinguishers, ABC style fire extinguishers in our bedrooms, which is very important because a lot of house fires start while we're sleeping and we want to be able to get out and we want to make sure we have an escape plan. And we also want to keep fire extinguishers in the kitchen. Now, here's the thing about fire extinguishers. Those little itty-bitty fire extinguishers, they're like little one-shots. You need a sizable fire extinguisher in these areas. Don't buy those itty-bitty ones. Those itty-bitty ones might not have enough powder in it to get the fire out. You want to aim it at the base of the fire and shoot that base of the fire. Now, with that being said, if there's a fire in your house and people do want to put it out and everything, and you should have these things, but if it gets out of hand or if there's some sort of imminent danger, get out of the house. Call 911 ASAP. Get everybody out. Everything else. Worry about humans, houses, and stuff and things can be replaced. But worry about the other humans and yourself first before you go trying to tackle stuff. So you got to kind of do a little triaging, which is hard to do when the adrenaline's pumping and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So, all right, so let's move on to the next one. Number 2, candles. Candles. It says every candle comes with a warning. A burning candle should never be left unattended. sounds pretty common sense. People will ask us all the time, well, if I light a fire, can I go into the other room or whatever? I've never seen where anything says you should leave a fire unattended, and that's a good idea. So it's probably not a bad idea if you're going to have a fire, in the house, whether it be a candle or if you're cooking something, what have you. Don't leave it unattended. Don't get distracted. There's too many distractions. This thing I'm recording this on is one of the biggest distractions in everybody's life. You need to pay attention to what's happening. Don't let TikTok or Instagram or whatever alert you, oh, look, I'm going to take a video of what I'm doing because I have to, get that confirmation that I'm awesome or whatever. Look, before you're doing that, it's probably best to not have something hot and something that is very destructive going on in the background while you're trying to, do some sort of a face filter or something on Instagram anyways. Moving on. Uh-oh, I lost my screen. Come back. There it is. Okay. Number 3, holiday decorations. All right, so what's that say about it? It says candles aren't alone in causing tragic fires during the winter holiday season. Christmas trees, lights, and other lit decorations are obvious culprits. Live trees are not watered properly and left out to dry, and they're an easy target for incineration by hot lights. So that happens a lot, enough to where it's number 3. The other thing happens, it's kind of like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where you're tethering a lot of electric together and you're overloading circuits and things like that, and bad stuff can happen. So, all right, where are we at here? Number 4, electrical systems and devices. Yeah, we had a call from a customer about 2 years ago that they had a house fire, and they had a Apple charger. It was an aftermarket Apple charger, and they threw a blanket over whatever was charging and went to lunch and came back, and house fire. So it says any device that uses electrical power that has the potential to start a fire. And overheated lighting equipment comes in at the top of that list. Shoddy electrical work within the home, poorly connected circuits, loose wires, improper grounding is also a danger often unknown to homeowners. Probably a good idea to have your electric inspected. And if you ever do any electrical work, I always tell people, probably not a good idea to do it yourself. Why don't you hire somebody that knows what they're doing, so that isn't the guy that you just run down and you start calling every single person that came up on your Google search or whatever, and you start looking for the cheapest price. You're looking for credentials. You're looking for, do they answer their phone? How do they sound? Do they sound professional? Did I get a recommendation from a friend? Like, what's the story? What kind of ratings do they have? Are they responsive to stuff? Things of that nature. Typically, all of those good things and all that knowledge and something is not the cheapest guy in there. I'm always skeptical of that. Look, guys, price doesn't dictate everything, but it does say a little bit about stuff. If it's too good to be true, sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Moving forward. All right. Smoking. Well, that makes sense. Let's read that one. Along with the most common causes of house fire, a consequence of negligent smoking habits. Let's see here. People sometimes fall asleep while smoking. I can tell you stories about that. In doing so, they can set their bed, chair, couch on fire, which is can easily result in a fatality. Another avoidable hazard is discarding still hot ashes into trash can where they can ignite. That happens with the fireplaces too. Scooping up ashes, people don't realize they can stay hot up to a week more, and that's just a standard. It can be even worse. But I do have a friend, and if you're watching this, you know who you are. Who when we were growing up, the first time I ever saw someone fall asleep with a cigarette in their hands was her dad over at the house. Oh, there's Tosca again. And I always thought, boy, that's not very safe. And this is when I was lower than teens, basically. So that is a thing, and it comes in at number 5. Number 6, we got chemicals and gases. Home fires can easily be caused by sources of natural gas, propane gas, and errant spark combined with a small leak can create a combustible situation. Improperly mixed household chemicals can also trigger combustion, which is why it's important to conduct such activity outside the home setting. So yeah, that is absolutely all true. Having your plumbing system checked out. When we come out, we check. If you have a gas line to your fireplace, we check the gas line to the fireplace, the immediate area, as much as we can. We leak test it and everything else. We look for the proper materials and everything. But having a proper, plumber come out to the home, and or even the gas company, if you think that you've got a leak, they'll come out and they'll find the leak. They don't fix it. They don't make recommendations. They have to be unbiased, but they do come out and check the leak. If you get a bunch of advice or something from them, I've heard good advice, I've heard bad advice, but finding the gas leak is the most important thing. And sometimes when we go out and we check, other gas leaks are found in the house. Now we're not plumbers. We can't inspect the entire house. We try to help people out as much as possible, but we do refer things on. So if like we had an instance where the technician, the gas was off to the fireplace, so to see what's going on, he turned it on long enough to test it and then turned it off, and he's like, it's not leaking here, but I can smell gas. And the homeowner smelled gas, and they went looking for it and everything, couldn't find it. So the technician recommended call the gas company, get them out here, see if they can find the gas leak, and then call a plumber. If it's near the fireplace, let us know. We can help you with it, but I didn't come up with that. And that sent the homeowner off on a pretty good trek. I would have, they actually ended up finding an open gas line somewhere. Nice review that our technician, help find a possible explosion source would be good. You know who you are. So I'm glad we helped out with that, and I'm glad we found it. I know it was frustrating for the homeowner because we turned that gas on and now there's this magic gas leak somewhere else. And of course, some people would think, well, they must have caused that. No, we didn't. It was off in the first place. In fact, that's probably why it was off. But you do have to find out that stuff, because what if someone was downstairs? What if some random person turned that on? You shouldn't have gas leaks and uncapped gas lines in your house. That's why you want to have this stuff checked for and looked for. All right. Important. Let's go to the next one here. Lightning. So we have seen house fires. We've seen chimneys get exploded by lightning. Lightning's it's an act of God. We can't control it. We can put lightning rods on the house and do things like that to commonly avoid. But lightning happens, especially around Kansas. Let's see here. Most commonly occur during the summer months when afternoon and evening storms are at their peak. Homes in heavily wooded areas are also vulnerable to lightning strikes that they can set the surrounding landscape on fire. I know a lot of people have switched out their roofing material from like wood shingles a long time ago and stuff to help if something gets hit by lightning, it sparks or whatever. But I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff happen with lightning. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Number 8, children. How is children a fire hazard? Let's see here. Small children unknowingly playing with fire or matches inside the home are one of the leading causes of house fires. Older kids who know what fire can do and just want to see what can happen are equally dangerous. Yeah, teenagers, I've got some sad stories about teenagers, mainly going to friends' houses, going to bonfires. I know I went to bonfires when I was a teenager and, acting a fool and using accelerants like gasoline to freshen up a fire or whatever, and people end up getting hurt, severely hurt, even dying sometimes. So train your kids about fire, and even young. It's like I tell people will ask all the time when we install a stove, like a wood stove insert, they go, doesn't that get hot? And I go, yes. And they'll go, well, I've got little children. And I go, the best solution for that is rather than how I grew up. I grew up, you touch it and the parent goes, well, now they know. It's probably not the best thing to do, but it does leave a, scarring lesson. But it's kind of like I tell people, that one of the ways you can train kids on it is no hot, get close to it, no hot, but you got to teach kids to respect things and know that, hey, that's hot, it's an ouchie or what have you, rather than just putting up barriers and stuff. Put up barriers and stuff and people get curious, so it's best to train and teach and learn about that. Okay, number 9, barbecue grill. with the advent of outside kitchens and people are seeing all this stuff online, there are certain things that need to be done. Ventilation of outdoor kitchens, making sure propane's being stored correctly, making sure that the right gas lines are being ran. There's a lot of dangerous stuff. And we hear about explosions and fires. People like to, they're putting grills and flat tops and stuff right up next to their house, put a piece of sheet metal on the wall and good to go. No, it doesn't work that way. So basically what they're saying here is, there's dry, dead grass, things like that, gas leaks, cooking on top of it, flame ups, things like that. And that's why you want to read the instructions. Grills have instructions and they tell you where the best place to put them is, not just because you want it there or it's going to look good there. I saw it on Instagram or I saw it on Pinterest. Read the manufacturer's instructions because, some grills, might require more clearances or areas or whatever than others, and that's not good. You don't want a house fire because you're trying to cook a good, tasty meal. So, all right, and then we're down to our last one. Normal fires that go awry. That's where the fireplace comes in. It says sometimes it can't be helped. We do everything correctly, follow all the rules and wisdom, and fire can still be notoriously hard to control. One of the most common issues of house fires are, of course, that we allow fires in our homes at all. If managed responsibly, it usually isn't an issue. That's the truth. It usually isn't an issue as long as we're paying attention, we're taking responsibility. But a stray ember from an active fire, flame, can catch a carpet aflame, for example. Be mindful around an indoor fireplace. Never leave it attended. This could be the time when a log breaks in such a way that embers sends embers flying. So this is the part that we come in, it's number 10 on the list. And, but the funny thing about this entire list is it's all avoidable, not only through education, but also through responsibility. Every single one of those that I just went down, I don't think, except for lightning, it doesn't just happen. There's a human involved. So that's why it's so important when, you have an expert out to your house that gives you suggestions, kind of gives you that care plan, telling you here's the best route for these, here's some of the dangers, instead of just being the person that goes, well, I'm basing all of my listening off of my checkbook and what I can afford instead of what really needs to be done or what have you. Look, if you need to postpone using whatever that is because it might lead to a bigger problem or whatever, then postpone it. If you need financing or whatever to get it where you want to be. But some of the comments I hear, well, it's been fine for 18 years. It's been, well, you know what? It's your house at the end of the day, but that's what we're here for. That's why you called us, is to try to give you the best advice possible to avoid those potential problems. But at the end of the day, I hear it every day, people going, well, I just want to do what's safe. I want a safe fire. And I tell people, look, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. Everybody wants this fictional thing in life, and it isn't just a safe fire. It's a safe travel. It's, safe junk food, safe this, safe that. That's what we're all striving for. But at the end of the day, a lot of things are very primal, and I see the same stuff happen over and over again. So we have to take responsibility and listen to the experts and make sure we're listening to the right expert. Make sure that expert has, all of those normal things that any expert should have: real company, insurance, liability, licensing, certifications, all of that stuff. And it's proved. It isn't just asking, hey, are you an expert? Hell, is my neighbor an expert? Is my dog an expert? No, but people that are experts have proof of being an expert, and that's the stuff you want to look for, not just what fits my budget. Because unfortunately, a lot of people in all aspects of life get taken advantage of, because either they're basing everything on what they can afford, or they're basing everything on what they think is common sense, even though they have no aspect of what the norm is in that. And they don't take the time for education, or they keep on searching until they find somebody that's telling them what they want to hear. And they'll keep asking questions 800 different ways until they get what they want to hear. And that's kind of where the safe conversation comes in, because if we really think about it, how do we make anything safe? You know, we can make it safer, right? Safer, but we can't make anything 100% safe. And then, you know, we're going to hold someone else accountable for my actions because you told me it was safe, right? Because all of these things we just went over, are your responsibility as a human, as a homeowner, as a person, to make sure that you're doing your best to avoid these bad instances that happen. All right, so there we go. There's my little speech. That's what I was thinking. It took me a little while to go through it. Thanks for thinking of it with me. Let me know what you think. Leave comments below. Have a great weekend. I think it's going to get a little nicer. It's a little chilly out today, at least in Kansas City. And we'll see you next week for Fireplace Friday. Thanks a lot.